Your time right now coming up on 8:49 on this Tuesday morning. We're taking on a tough topic. It's something we may not talk enough about. Child abuse. It's something many of us can't fathom, but a reality for some children, many of them right here in the DMV. April marks Child Abuse Prevention Month, and here to talk with us more about it is Lori Tusharsky with Stop Child Abuse Now of Northern Virginia. Lori, thanks for coming in to talk about this with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for making time for it, because this is the most important thing we do, is talk about abuse.
And having those conversations and getting those conversations started is half the battle when it comes to talking about this. And many of us think we might know what the signs of child abuse look like, but there are plenty of signs that we may not recognize immediately.
Yeah, that's true. And I think anytime an adult, and really this goes for all adults because we're all responsible for the children in our lives, anytime that you're concerned or you're thinking about, a change in behavior, you're noticing a child might have an aversion to a place or a person that they formerly used to like, anytime that sort of, ideas in your head that there might be something more to what I'm seeing, a boundary being crossed, a child who is experiencing some discomfort like stomach aches or headaches, and we hear that a lot, but they're not sick, so therefore they're just trying to get out of school. Those are the kinds of things that we should be curious about, asking questions, and making a space for children to be heard and to be honest, disclose and talk about when they're uncomfortable. And I think those are things we need to really be thinking about.
Absolutely. Can we talk a little bit about some of the drivers, those adverse childhood experiences, those ACEs, as they're called, and the long-lasting impacts those can have well into adulthood?
Yeah, I think some of the things we tell ourselves as adults is, well, it's probably fine, but what we know now from research is that the impact of harm on the body is going to have long-term impacts on a person's behavior, a person's development, their healthy development, and even, one of the things we know is that ADHD is extremely common in people who've experienced childhood trauma, all forms of childhood trauma, and that will stay with you into adulthood and impact your future quite a bit.
Absolutely. And how can we be good, trusted adults for children who may need our help? What can we do to be good people and take responsibility and take charge for the children in our lives?
Such a great question. Thanks for asking it. I think one of the things we need to do is understand that it's not always about us, that we need to show up and listen, not react in a big way. That scares children. They're afraid of how adults are going to react if they have something hard to tell them. When we show up, we need to be prepared to be changed by what we hear. And we need to make sure that when we are around children, when we work with children, that we observe their rights, their right to be an expert on themselves. So we hear a lot about parental rights, and I think at SCAN, we talk about children's rights. So their right to body autonomy, to decide if they want a hug or they don't want a hug, their right to understand, how their body works. Those are all the kinds of things that we want to make sure that we do with children in our lives.
Absolutely. It's on all of us to take charge and make a difference in children's lives. Lori Tusharsky with Stop Child Abuse Now of Northern Virginia. Thanks so much for coming in and talking with us about this today.
Thank you so much for having time to do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.